Team Fortress 2 is a popular class-based first-person shooter that is now over 16 years old, almost 17, which is happening actually later this year. This game is beloved and consistently played by well over 10,000 people each day, and it's almost completely unplayable. The TF2 bot crisis is certainly something that needs little to no in-depth explanation as of right now, and has been made very well known from both this new Fix TF2 campaign as well as the Save TF2 campaign we had around 2 years ago at this point. So what people don't know is exactly how bad of a state the game is in now. The majority of people are uninformed of the true state of TF2. As for most who were passively watching the campaign, they thought it was fixed when Valve sent out that now pretty infamous tweet. Sure, we did get some very useful tools, such as both teams being able to call votes, and some crasher bot/cheater harassment bugs were fixed. I'm saying this in essence to let people know that we do fully acknowledge that there was a response to Save TF2, not just a tweet in silence. But it wasn't enough. The bot crisis has only proceeded to continue being an intense detriment to people's enjoyment of the game. With some cases worse than others, many people know the bot's flooding casual mode almost every second they can, but I've seen almost no one talk about how many of the servers for this versus Sexton Hill are completely filled with bots, well, just as a spiteful take on the fact we got more content for TF2. Because that's really all that bot hosters are, spiteful. Many people playing Team Fortress 2 at certain points may notice the mass of bots being named after smaller, seemingly random YouTube creators such as Mega Scatterbombs, Wheezy, and others. There is a massive reason as of why it is these people in particular. It is because they speak out against the bots in a huge way, and their intense oppression of TF2, and in response, the hosters try their hardest to torment or defame these people by using both bots, or fake proof, or illegal or even degenerate activity, etc. Which is why I also want to make something pretty painfully clear here. The name of a bot in Team Fortress 2 is by no means ever the source of who is hosting it. This logic is something that has only been hurting the Fix TF2 movement because a lot of casual players are not super in the loop of what the community is trying to do about this game. Though of course the hosters defaming people, outcries are bad. Valve's negligence is even worse. Everyone already knows this, but VAC bans are insanely inconsistent and absolutely do not work with even the slightest bit of thinking outside the box. While I may not be a genius in coding whatsoever, the insane level of cheat clients on sites such as GitHub leads me to believe that working around VAC is one of the easiest things for people with malicious intent. Not only that, Valve makes, hear me here, millions each year off of Team Fortress 2, and they keep adding more and more microtransactions, and that well directly goes into their total of billions of dollars that they have at this point. I believe it's like $7 billion they have at their discretionary use. So the fact that Valve has not even used a fraction of the earnings from TF2 to outsource people to actually fix the game speaks volume about how they actually think of their older products. This leads me to talk about my final point. The entire title of this video is why it feels very important. The world needs Team Fortress 2. Team Fortress 2 as a game is an absolute marvel of quality. The fact that it has gone on for over 16 years is a testament to how insanely popular and good this game is at its very core, which is why I wanted to establish that Fix TF2 is not about getting more game content. The game is at a state where many people would be content if Valve just left it as it is. But this is not about balance. This is about Valve doing the bare minimum and making sure that their product is playable. So, why do I say the world needs TF2? It's not that just the world needs TF2. The world needs Valve and the wonder that they produce. Valve games have always been a titan of industry standard. with most of their games being the highest quality for the time and even keeping up insanely well to this day. Like, if you want a quick example off the top of my head, Half-Life, Half-Life 2, Portal, Portal 2, people know those things. The world needs Team Fortress 2 for inspiration, for the idea that a live service game can go on for over 16 years, and even when that service from the developers stop, it will have a dedicated community to stick with it for many more years to come. People in the gaming industry need to know how much the community are responsible for keeping TF2 alive. The past 6 years have been almost nothing but pure community content, whether that be through Scream Fortress stuff, Smith updates, or even through the entirely built from the ground up game mode of Versus Saxton Hale being all made by the community. The world needs to hear the outcry of what we are doing here today, because what we all honestly want now is just a playable game that the community can mold to add more content ourselves. So please, go and sign the petition at savetf.tf. We have over 100,000 signatures already in there, but we need as many voices as we can get to get the cry out there, to truly explain to Valve that we are still a community who are passionate about this game. Now, one of the largest things going around when this was announced was the idea of sharing personal stories. So, allow me to share one of mine. Now, think back to 2020, and I do not mean all the stuff that happened earlier on in 2020. We want to forget that. I mean Scream Fortress 2020 specifically. I actually made a video on it back then, and while that video is definitely not very high quality or funny in retrospect, it is still a very huge landmark in my mind. That year, Scream Fortress was when I ended up meeting and bonding with some of the best friends I still have to this day. Like, the friend you even saw in that video, the friend you saw in my most recent Halloween video, I met him during, like, this event, is when I think I met him before that, but this is when I started, like, becoming actual friends with him. And it's just, this game has always had a sense of bringing me and my friends together, because it is just something we can all hop on and play. We don't need to go and hop into casual if we wanted to play games. We could just play MVM instead, which is what we actually intend on doing a lot of the time, because the community has been doing an amazing job of keeping MVM alive, which has been neglected for God knows how many years. But that's not all. In terms of the game itself, that year was the first year in a hot minute I'd actually been playing casual TF2, and I was having such a blast in retrospect. Like, it's a very fond memory looking back towards then. All the goofy stupidity stuff I did. Oh my goodness. I recall so many games, such as one on Ghost Fort, which, to those who don't know, is infamous for having a boss in it that tends to spawn, like, all the freaking time, and it makes the objective pause, so everyone kind of loses it in chat when he appears, and it's really funny. But, you know, it was really worse this time, because it was on Ghost Fort, where Marasmus, who's the boss, spawned like 30 seconds after he died, like, every single time for 2 rounds. So it took us, like... So the round timer starts at 14 minutes, and when a player captures the point, it starts... Not 14, it starts at 7 minutes, and it starts counting down when they, starts counting down when someone captures the point. But when Marasmus spawns, he disables the point and kicks out, it disables, like, who owns it, so you need to recapture it every time you defeat him, and the timer pauses. So that time it was, like, maybe 14 minutes, maybe even 20, just a one mission, because of that godforsaken wizard. And also remembering other things, such as, like, intense primal fear, when that foreboding text about being it on Man Manor with the headless, horseless horseman would start, like, violently chasing you. It was funny, and also insanely scary, but, like, seriously. A lot of my best memories of TF2 are from the Scream Fortress events, but that by no means gives any validation for the game being neglected how it is. So, please, just hear me out. Go and sign the petition and let your voice be heard. This game needs us. Valve, and this game needs Valve. So please, let the world know it needs Team Fortress 2. Thank you.